Jason here from OTR, and I'm going to be talking to you about being your own truck mechanic. So let's get started. There's a lot of money that you could save by being your own truck mechanic. So in order for you to do your own work on your own vehicle, like, you have to have the right tools, and that includes wrenches, ratchets, different sets of sockets, needle nose pliers, crescent wrench. You got to have an adjustable, and you don't need a lot of money to get started. I would say you just need to have like a good set, and as you consistently work on your own vehicle, you'll see what you need, and then you just buy tools as you go. So what I recommend doing is just doing your basic maintenance. So there's a lot of things that you can do on your truck to really save a lot of money, and you don't really have to be labeled like professional mechanic to just get started. There's a lot of things you can do yourself. For instance, you can replace your air filter, you could replace your shocks, you can even replace your airbags. So a lot of the things, components on the truck, just takes the very basic hand tools for you to be able to do your own repair. The benefit about this is that you're able to handle a lot of tasks and a lot of things that normally you would take it to a shop, but you could do this yourself. So for instance, if you wanted to replace your power steering fluid filter, which is a very simple thing that you can do. So every so often, probably once a year, once every other year, you'd probably want to change out your power steering fluid filter. So it's a very basic thing to do. But again, if you don't know, if you've never done it before, that's when it just could be overwhelming. Another thing that you could save is really replacing your air dryer. I see this as a constant thing every single year, especially before winter hits. There's a lot of water that's built up in your air system, and what I recommend doing is replacing your air dryer. Your air dryer takes a lot of wear and tear, especially when driving down the road, and before winter gets kind of going, I would say replacing your air dryer is a very important thing to do, just to make sure that your reliability of your air system is operating at the optimal level. And so what that means is that you have to have, the filter itself is very simple to replace. It's a very, you just need to have like a 1/2-inch ratchet. You need to have a special strap to go in the housing of it's almost like an oil filter wrench, but it's practically just large enough to hold the filter and when you're tightening it. But if you've ever changed your oil on your vehicle, you could change your oil or change this filter on your truck. And so just everything seems bigger. I would even say that in working as a mechanic for the automotive and the diesel truck industry, I would say it's very easy and you can do it yourself. So that means that anything that you do on your automotive side, if you replace your own oil, I would say that you are qualified to replace your own oil on your truck. Again, it's just in larger quantities, and it uses bigger wrenches, ratchets, sockets. Everything is a little bit bigger, but I highly recommend you could do it yourself. Again, you just have to now go through the procedures and recommended specifications that your engine has to make sure that you're, obviously, if you're doing an oil change, you're making sure that the oil filter is the correct oil filter that's recommended from the parts counter at the dealer or wherever you go get diesel parts, or it's recommended to figure out exactly making sure that you put enough oil depending on what size engine you have. The recommendation for the oil quantity is definitely going to matter. Being your own mechanic has a lot of advantages, and I highly recommend you try it out. It starts simple. You don't have to go for the most complex thing, especially if your truck is having issues and you're facing a drivability issue or a vibration issue. You don't have to go in deep doing your kingpins or doing wheel seals or changing out an injector for your first time, especially when you're getting started. A lot of the simple things that you can do is really just starting off with your oil change, doing your basic greasing on your truck, replacing some of your filters, replacing your axle oils, just making sure you're getting familiarized with, all right, what do I need to do? And making sure that you have the proper equipment to support it. And what's nice is it's on your time. So that means that if you're not really having anything going on, if you're kind of just in the waiting period before you're getting a load and you just need to make sure that your truck is in tip-top shape, well, that means that you're just able to have the time to do this, and you're gonna know your truck better than anyone else. And so when you start working on it, I think you're gonna get also more comfortable driving it and being comfortable with reliability. Because you've done it, you now have the, just the satisfaction that, hey, you know what, I was able to do this myself. I saved $100 an hour in labor or more, and it really just going to be very advantageous for you to just do this yourself instead of taking it to a shop or taking it somewhere else to do it. So I think this also is really important because when you're driving over the road, you want to have the confidence that you can deal with a breakdown. You want to have the confidence that you can deal with an emergency situation, and you have the basic tools with you. For instance, if you have something like an air leak, you have to fix it in order for you to build air pressure in order for you to drive your truck. So if you have an air leak and let's say a busted hose and you're not comfortable with fixing it, at least doing some type of a hot fix to get you to the next destination, in a sense, you really need to be able to do that yourself. Learn how to have the proper tools to be able to cut an airline and to have the right components to properly, connect those two airlines together through a quick connect or something like that. So you need to familiarize yourself and have the standard, because you have the standard tools and the standard components in your truck. So that way you're really driving with peace of mind. Being your own truck mechanic doesn't mean you have to know everything. I would say being your truck mechanic is just being equipped not only with just knowledge, with tools, but also with confidence to be able to do this yourself and to have the confidence to get to your destination without having to deal with unknowns, right? The unknowns is what's gonna give us a breakdown. The unknown is going to give us a lot of anxiety, and we're not going to be able to sleep at night. And I would say that if you can equip yourself with the right tools and with the right knowledge, you're really empowered to do a lot more. Not only can you save time and save money, you're really saving a lot of anxiety, and you can sleep better at night just by knowing that you'll have everything you need to drive, right? I mean, that's the best thing about being your own mechanic, is that you're not going to be waiting around for others to do something simple, or you're not going to be waiting around for others to, just make sure they did it right. Being your own mechanic means that you can spend a little bit more time and you can be slow at doing it because it's your time. You don't have to rush to get it done. But when you do it yourself, you have the confidence to take your time to make sure it's done right. Downtime to me means that you're not able to drive your truck, or you're stuck stranded on the side of the road or stranded somewhere because your truck is, because of an issue, right? So if you have any issue with your vehicle, doesn't necessarily have to be because of the engine. It could be anything, right? So you're gonna have downtime because your tire blew. You can have downtime because your engine's overheating and you don't know what to do. So there's a lot of things that can happen when driving a truck, and downtime plays a big part into it. I would say that if you are hauling loads for a company and you face downtime, well, you're less likely to get called back to haul another load unless you are prepared and you are properly communicating to them what is going on. I think here over communication is key. If you communicate more often and you communicate what's going on with your vehicle, they're more likely to trust you for next time. And so I would say in the trucking industry, reliability, honesty is key here. So if you're facing downtime, or you have a truck that's just constantly having issues, well, I would say, you just over communicate and try to see if what you can do to eliminate those downtimes, because you don't want your reliability for the carrier that you're hauling to be affected. I would say being your own mechanic and doing your own repair is highly worth it. And I'm not just saying that just to say it. I'm saying it's gonna save you downtime. It's gonna save you potentially like losing your load. It's also gonna give you peace of mind. Being your own truck mechanic and doing your own repairs is fun. It's also empowering you to just have a good time, knowing that you're able to do just repairs on your time. I would say that it's not that difficult to be handling certain tasks. If you get out of your comfort zone, I would say for sure highly recommend taking it further, but I would definitely say it's worth it. It's worth it on so many levels. And I would say it's just nice knowing that you know the inner workings of your truck. This is your business. This is your truck, and you have to own it. You have to drive it, and it's worth something. And the more maintenance that you do on your truck, it's gonna hold the value of the truck because it's been in good hands. I would say that your truck is gonna be important for you to just do the maintenance and be proactive about it. Everything that you're doing is for yourself. So I highly recommend it. I highly say it's worth it. And the more you know, the more you can help others. And that's where I think this goes into, is that if you can help someone who else breaks down, I mean, that's an awesome gift. And if you're dealing with a breakdown, wouldn't you like someone else to kind of come in and help you? And so this is where you're able to do a helping hand, especially if if you see someone else broke down, you can help them, whether they need tools or a part or some situation. And when you break down, someone else is going to come help you. So this is where it's just awesome to just know how you can help others, because it's definitely going to be beneficial over the road. So when dealing with after treatment issues, and especially dealing with a truck that has an after treatment system like a DPF, EGR, and an SCR system, you're gonna deal with sometimes downtime because of an issue on your after treatment. And so I kind of have a story to share of how an owner operator, because he was informed and because he took matters in his own hands, was able to get back on the road and be able to do this himself. And what I did was I practically just taught him. So he brought his truck into my shop at the time, and what I did was I gave him just instructions of how to be able to do a parked regen from the dashboard. No one really ever taught him how to do it, and at the time there's like no diagnostic tools that existed where you could do it yourself and force regen. There's a lot of issues that happened with his truck, and just because he was equipped with the knowledge that I shared with him, he actually ended up calling me about 3 to 4 days later saying that it actually saved him from being stuck on the side of the road in the middle of Utah. I would say, like, I don't know exactly if he called me a few days later or a week later. I don't know about necessarily that. But it was just the fact that I empowered him with the information just gave him the capabilities and the confidence to be able to do it himself, instead of us relying on a dealership or whatever else you had to rely on. So now obviously there's different tools that exist now that could definitely help you, especially if you're facing an after treatment issue. But I would say if you're driving a newer truck, having the right tools and having some information could really be a powerful tool that you use to drive and to give you confidence to be able to tackle things yourself.